We can all drink.
All set? Okay. All right, good evening, everybody. I would like to call to order this meeting of the Wyoming City Council. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Washington? Here. Mr. Humphrey? Here. Mr. Treehouse?
Here.
Mr. Woodside?
Here.
Ms. Robles?
Here.
Ms. Stanton?
Here.
Mayor Moore?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The meeting is being live streamed on the city's YouTube channel, accessible from the city's website. If you would like to address City Council, please come up to the microphone to speak, as the audio will not pick up if you do not speak into the microphone for those watching from YouTube. There are 9 items on the consent agenda. They are approval of the November 21st, 2022 City Council meeting minutes, approval of the November 28th, 2022 special City Council meeting minutes, approval of the November 28th, 2022 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes, a resolution declaring intent to conduct internet auctions for the sale of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit city personnel property for the year of 2023, a resolution authorizing the then and now certificate, the city manager's annual DE&I progress report, a resolution recognizing Katie Stock for services on the Environmental Stewardship Commission, a resolution recognizing Craig Svensson for services on the Wyoming Community Foundation, a resolution recognizing Matt Fisher for services on the Wyoming Community Foundation. Do I hear a motion with respect to the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second. Having been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda items, all those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Those opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Are there any questions or comments on the special reports? Okay, then we will now hear a report from the city manager.
Thanks, Mayor. The city is now accepting applications for vacancies on a couple of our commissions. We have vacancy on Promote Wyoming Commission and the Environmental Stewardship Commission, as well as the Wyoming Community Foundation. So if you'd like more information about how you could volunteer to be part of one of those groups, you can check out our website, wyomingohio.gov. You can give me a call or shoot me an email or just reach out to the main city number. We'd love to have you on one of those commissions. The holiday celebration with Light Up Wyoming was a huge success. We would like to thank Junior Women's Club for putting out the luminaries in the business district and for helping us create this popular annual holiday event. This year the event was all down at the Village Green and in the center of downtown. And it was a huge number of people that attended, and it was a really big hit. So thanks for everybody that came out. We continue fundraising for the Village Green, which we had our Light Up Wyoming event at. The Village Green Pavilion and Park Improvement Project continues. The fundraising continues right now. So if you'd like to be a part of that project, we would love to have you. You can purchase a brick for your family to honor your family's name. You can get bricks for $500 or $200. You can do that at the Wyoming Community Foundation website, wyocommunityfoundation.org, or you can stop down to the city building and we can help you do that. If you'd like to be a bigger sponsor of the project, we'd love to have that as well. We still need to raise about $400,000 for that project, and we'd like to build it as soon as May Fete is over. So we'd like to start June 1st. So if you can be a part of that project and help us get there, we'd love to have your help. And then finally, the city office will be closed on Friday, December 23rd, Monday, December 26th. We will also be closed on Friday, December 30th, and Monday, January 2nd. So enjoy your holidays, and thank you, Mayor.
Super, thanks. Are there any council committee reports not otherwise on the agenda? And are there any special committee reports not otherwise on the agenda? Okay. All right, then we have reached that point in our meeting where a citizen may express an opinion, make a statement, address a concern, or ask a question on any subject that is not otherwise on the agenda. Excuse me. Comments will be recorded into the minutes and passed along to be addressed by the appropriate staff or city council committee as needed. This portion of the meeting is not for city council to provide responses to a citizen comment, but to hear what the citizen has to say. If you wish a response from the city to your concern or request for information, please be sure to leave your contact information with the clerk before the meeting. And the city manager or a member of staff will contact you regarding your request. And as a reminder, please state your name and address before making your comments to city council. Is there anyone present that would like to bring an item not otherwise on the agenda before city council? Please.
Thank you. Whoa. All right. My name is Trey Harness. My address is 117 Wentworth Avenue. I live right behind Councilmember Woodside, and I've got quite a few complaints. I'm just kidding. I'm here. I'm also the board president of the Wyoming Swim Club, and I'm here representing both the board and many of our members. I'm here. As you guys know, the swim club has been around for over 60 years in Wyoming. It's been a wonderful place that has provided countless memories to thousands of residents of Wyoming. I know that some of the members are also members of the swim club, so I appreciate all of your membership. I'm here because we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity for the community, for the city, and for the swim club. As you may or may not know, the swim club has reached some financial peril. A combination of a lot of different factors at play, and really being exacerbated by post-pandemic costs. So our costs have risen quite a bit, and we're already operating at a break even, and we have quite a few upgrades that we need to make to the club. And we've now reached a point where we have to find some financial safety net in order for the club to continue its operations. We've exhausted all of the known sources of funding that we could really find ourselves, whether that be a bank loan or even private fundraising. Now, we are going to pursue private fundraising, but that will obviously take some time. And time is just not on our side right now. We have debts to pay, and we want to make sure that we have the capital to keep the club operational over the next couple of years so that we can really start in earnest our fundraising campaigns to raise capital to make the necessary upgrades, as well as give us a solid foundation for a financial future for the club. One option that we have researched that we think is a viable option and a very good option is applying for one of the available state grants for green space. A grant would give the club the capital it needs to make upgrades and, again, provide this solid financial foundation. The way that it would work is we would apply for a grant to purchase a portion of the property that the club sits on, and it would be preserved as green space. It would prevent the land from being developed, because obviously if the club goes under, we would have to sell the land off as our only asset, pay off all of our debts, and the most likely buyer of the property would be a land developer. And so by getting this grant, it would prevent us having to do that, and it would be a major benefit, obviously, to the club. We also believe that it would be a big benefit to the city, as the city has property that abuts the available parcels right next to, the city owns property right next to this property that we would be protecting, as well as the neighbors. And a few of those neighbors are here tonight in support of us asking for help with this grant. We recognize that these grants take some time, both in terms of research and writing an application, as well as actually attaining the money. We've been told from other neighborhoods' experience that it could take anywhere from 12 to 18 months. And so we have been able to attain a loan from a private citizen to help keep the club operational for that time period, assuming that the city council and city manager can help us with committing to actually applying for this grant and helping us with writing an application for it. We're not experts in this, and so that's really why I'm here, is to ask for help from the people who are experts in writing an application. And obviously, these applications are typically the application process is typically handled by city government for these state grants, and so getting your all's commitment is really why I'm here tonight. If we have the commitment from City Council and Mr. Herzog, then we feel confident that we can keep the club open because we'll be able to attain this loan from the private citizen. Certainly, the grant, we might not get the grant. We recognize that that's certainly a possibility. And if that does happen, then we're faced with selling the property and obviously paying off the debt that we have, as well as the loan from the private citizen. So that's certainly one of the routes that might have to be taken if we are unable to attain the grant money. Please know that we are not asking for any money from the city, just the time and energy to help us really understand what we have to do to apply for this grant and what grant is the appropriate grant for us, or if there's any other kind of funding out there that we may be able to apply for to save the club. So that's really what we're hoping for, is help from experts. There's what we're asking for, help from experts. Because time is of the essence, we are asking that you all can make a decision of whether we can pursue this in the next couple weeks. We have to make sure that we have an obligation to our membership to let them know whether the club will be open this summer, so that they can find alternative sources of fun and entertainment. And we also have to make sure that we're getting the land ready to sell so that we can pay off some of the people that we owe money to, like the YMCA. So that's why time is of the essence. So that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions for me. And the other thing I would say is, if there are specific questions about the land, the details, we have all of that, and we can certainly follow up with any of you in a separate meeting. I didn't think I'd have time, or you guys would have the attention for any of that tonight. So thank you.
You have a question?
Yeah. Trey, so do you mind coming back to the microphone? Thank you for the summary. 2 questions. Could you tell us what the duration of the loan is, what the terms are of the private citizen's loan?
That's a good question. So the terms are, it's a $100,000 loan. The terms would be dependent upon how long we think the grant process is really going to take. So like I said, we've heard that it could be 12 to 18 months. It's really going to be dependent on when the specific the people that make the decisions around providing the grants, when they actually have a session to review the applications and then provide the money. So we've got some terms drawn up in a contract with this private citizen, but we haven't finalized those until we know that what's realistic in terms of the timing with, whether it's the Doug, correct me if I'm wrong, the green, what was the one that we were looking closest at? The Green Space Fund is the one that we were looking closely at.
Okay. All right, thanks for that. And then has the club considered in any way a dog park operation over there?
At the club?
Yeah.
No, but I would
Or
love
in
to
the
hear more
green
ideas on
space
that.
near the club property, but a dog park?
That's certainly something that we could potentially consider. I think we're open to any ideas to use the property that isn't currently being used for the club itself. So as long as we have, as long as there's a purchase of that property and we're able to attain those funds to keep the club viable, then we're open to any of those ideas.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely.
Can you say more about the purchase of the property? So who currently owns it, and how would that work if the grant goes through?
Yeah, so the property right now is owned by the club. The club is, I don't know what the tax indication is. It's not a 501c3, but it's a 501c7. And so essentially the sale of the club would require any proceeds to be donated to the charity of the choice of the members. And so, sorry, does that answer your question? Okay.
Sorry. Trey, the club sits on 5 acres?
So 5.5 acres. And 3.2 of those acres would be available for sale. I know a couple other questions had been raised as a part of vetting the opportunity, things like parking access, et cetera. We do have a parking lot currently, and certainly that could be augmented to ensure that there is parking dedicated for any sort of green space or a dog park or whatever it ends up being. So we're confident that we can meet some of that criteria, but I think it's just understanding all of the other details that would go into an application process and making sure that it's written appropriately or where kind of our expertise ends.
I do have a question. So you mentioned there are neighbors here tonight who are in support of this idea. Have any of the neighbors said their opinion, excuse me, on further development? Are they opposed to other homes on the property? Is their preference to have it preserved as green space?
I believe I can speak for them in saying that they would definitely be opposed to having the land developed into houses or whatever a developer might develop it into, but they support it being preserved as some sort of park or a nature preserve. Absolutely.
Any other questions? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to come and address council?
I'm Dan McCauley. I live at 1273 Sweetwater. I'm a neighbor. And first of all, I really appreciate that the pool came and contacted us and tried to include us in on it. And frankly, I like the sound of the kids, at the pool. It's kind of a nice summer sound to have. And I've only lived here for 5 years, but it's nice to be part of that tradition in the neighborhood. To me, it seems like a simple thing. In that I think it checks a lot of boxes for us as a community. It's going to support a long-standing community partner. What it does is keeps a green space green, and my understanding would be that it would be then donated to the city to be part of the Green Trust. That's part of our mission and what we're trying to do. It helps us align, I think, a little closely with the Mill Creek Alliance, which, by the way, that Stearns Woods project is amazing. I don't think it's on that scale. I think it's simply a simple acquisition. So that my understanding of the grant is that there is not a financial part of the obligation on the part of the city. However, I've written enough grants to know that time and energy is not a shallow commodity. And so that is an obligation that the city would have to look at. All I can tell you is that as a neighbor, I would be in full support. I'd also try and help out. You need a person to carry buckets for the grant. You need somebody to, just do stuff like that. And I'd certainly be willing to help out. So full support, and hope you give it your full consideration.
Anyone else like to address council? Okay, thank you. So new business. This is the first reading of the ordinance amending ordinance number 10-2021 as amended by ordinance number 07-2022 in its entirety and fixing the salaries and compensation of all offices and positions in the city service and declaring an emergency. It's recommended that the rules be suspended and the ordinance be considered for adoption tonight. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Is there any discussion?
Second.
So having been moved and seconded to suspend the rules, it takes an affirmative vote of 5 for passage. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The motion carries. We will now need a motion to adopt the ordinance tonight. Do I hear a motion with respect to the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
You? Any discussion? Having been moved and seconded to adopt the ordinance, it takes an affirmative vote of 5 for passage. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes. The motion carries. This is the first reading of the ordinance appropriating revenues within certain funds, transferring revenues from certain funds, and transferring certain funds within designated accounts. It is recommended that the rules be suspended and the ordinance be considered for adoption tonight. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules?
I move to suspend the rules.
Second?
Is there any discussion? Having been moved and seconded to suspend the rules, it takes an affirmative vote of 5 for passage. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The motion carries. We will now need a motion to adopt the ordinance tonight. Do I hear a motion with respect to the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Having been moved and seconded to adopt the ordinance, would the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes, the motion carries. Next, this is the first reading of the ordinance making appropriations for the expenses of the City of Wyoming, Ohio for 2023. It is recommended that the rules be suspended and the ordinance be considered for adoption tonight. Is there any discussion?
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Would the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the motion carries. So we will now need a motion to adopt the ordinance tonight. Do I hear a motion with respect to the ordinance?
Motion to adopt the ordinance?
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
I just like thank you to Jeremiah and Rusty and all the staff. This is a lot of work. A lot of work.
Would the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes, the motion carries. Next item is confirmation that no hearing is requested for the application for the transfer of the liquor permit from Station Family and Barbecue LLC to the Wyoming Community Improvement Corporation. Do I hear a motion to not request a hearing for this application?
I make a motion to not request a hearing.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Having been moved and seconded to not request a hearing on this application, would the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the motion carries. Does anyone have any new business not otherwise on the agenda? Okay, then we'll move to the miscellaneous portion of our meeting. We'll start with Jody. Do you have anything that you'd like to share in miscellaneous?
I would just like to say thank you to Rachel and Emily for an amazing Light Up Wyoming. They worked hard, they worked fast. It was snow globes and reindeer and people all around, and it was really fantastic event. I saw more than one person post on Facebook that it was our hallmark town, which is the reason why we love it here. So thank you for all that hard work and dedication heading into the holidays.
Grant?
I have one related to that, and it's whoever pulled off getting the horses there. I know that was a big deal, and they were big Clydesdales, so that was pretty awesome. So thanks for that. My kids were super pumped to see them.
Cool. Dan?
I'd like to thank everyone on staff, including Rusty, our city manager. It's been a great year. As we come to the close of this year, it's been a very smooth year for all of us here representing the public. So thanks for all your hard work. It's been a great 12 months.
Chris?
We'll just thank Jody, Grant, and Dan for reading my talking points ahead of time. And Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks to the city employees that do everything they do to make this place rock and roll and make it such a desirable place to live and work. And I look forward to an even better 2023.
April?
Ditto.
Sarah?
I wanted to thank Rachel. Not only was Light beautiful for all the reasons already said, but the display explaining the importance of donating to the Village Green Project was so compelling that an out-of-town family member of mine who does not live here bought a brick. So
Nice.
that's saying something. And I also wanted to thank the Public Safety Committee for a very well-managed meeting where my neighbors all left feeling heard, and the scuttlebutt around the Circle Top neighborhood is people felt listened to. So that's a big deal. Thank you.
Awesome. I also wanted to thank all of the city employees for what an excellent job you guys do day in and day out and how well you represent all of Wyoming. And then I want to do a special call out. I already told Chief Brady this. At 5:20 Sunday morning, we heard noises in our basement, and we didn't know if we had an intruder. So my husband's like getting ready to get the flashlight out, and I'm like, wait a second. So we called. Officers were there within 3 minutes. They were amazingly efficient at checking everything for safety, checking all the doors, and then helping us do wellness checks on all of our tenants to make sure that it wasn't something that, we just didn't understand where it was coming from. And I got to say, I don't know many places that you can have that kind of care from your police officers just like this, and it really makes you value living here. So very appreciated. Okay. So all members are present, so we have no one to excuse. And so at this point, we will have executive session. So under section 121.03B1 of the codified ordinances of the City of Wyoming, council may adjourn to executive session to consider reappointments to the city boards and commissions, specifically to the Architectural Review Board, Economic Development Commission, Environmental Stewardship Commission, Historic Preservation Commission, Planning Commission, Promote Wyoming Commission, the Recreation Commission, and Urban Forestry and Beautification Commission. Do I hear a motion to adjourn to executive session?
So moved.
Having been moved and seconded to adjourn to executive session, would the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
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 Yes. Council is adjourned to executive session.